Okay, so this is Act 2 proper, and let's see how well we fare against the desert fools. Yeah, the scarabs here, the dung soldiers, already pose a significant threat, and you will see I will start using sacrifice less and less, because that's also a big source of damage, like why we're getting so much damage. I've played Act 2 over the course of different days, because it was a fucking slog. It was almost impossible towards the end. And look, there's a little bug here. Sometimes this still happens. You just have to bonk them a little bit and then they start reacting. There you go. By Burn the Forgetful. But yeah, we don't deal enough damage. Oh, and there's another level up here. Prayer. Not bad, but we definitely need damage. Prayer is fine, I guess. Oh, we finally upgrade those boots. We need more defense. I think we need more defense, I don't really know. Oh, and here I'm writing the rules of the challenge, the restrictions up there. Same as Act 1. So what's the objective here? Well, rush the cube and see how well we can do. Try to get some loot, some good loot. And actually, we didn't find much here. See, every hit, every monster requires some hits, but this is still doable. This is not a big problem. The first part of the desert, we still deal enough damage and we're doing pretty well, I guess. And I decide, yeah, this is a big upgrade, even if it's ethereal. Inventory is looking quite busy there. Yeah, we get into the dry hills. Luckily, it was very, very close. But you're probably wondering, how well did we do against those scarabs? Well, it wasn't easy. Yeah, there were quite some near-death experiences, but we managed to get out of them alive. Finally we get even though it's only a cracked belt, but still now we have more space for potions. Every fight requires potions, switching to prayer after it's ended, if it's not a long fight. Now for some reason here I thought damage reduced by 1 is better than 3 to life. I honestly don't know, but usually damage reduced is good if you stack it up, because when you get attacked by a lot of monsters, it's like the damage is reduced for each attack. So, yeah. Here I'm just checking at this point, like, what do we need? Can I use sacrifice? Can I use a different aura? Can I use might? At the end we keep holy fire, even though I think we've got only 1 point in the skill, or maybe 2 at this moment in time, so still I think it's better than might. We get the waypoint, so we can save and exit after we find the cube. And finally, yes, another point into holy fire. Some decent stats. Oh yeah, only level 1 and now we're level 2. So, Halls of the Dead. Here is where you find the Horary Cube, quest item. We're keeping that half freeze duration for Duriel? Or Duriel, I don't know. And here we start to struggle a little bit. Loot is not really favorable. We're not really getting anything useful, basically. We get into level 2. And here, for some reasons, I thought I had to kill this lightning enchanted zombie. Drowned? No, wait, what's the name of these ghouls here? Decayed, okay. Yeah, this took quite some time. And some potions. I thought it was gonna drop something, I don't know. But at least we get the potions back, so if we're lucky. At this point, the potions are not really a problem, because we're finding them, we're not wasting too much of them. And you will see a lot of walking and then running. At one point during the end I was just walking, basically. But yeah, so we're against Blood Witch, I think is the name of this boss. Drinking some potions here, we don't have many left. But finally we cleared the room. And we get our well-earned Horror Cube. See, the drops there, just garbage. Finally, yeah. So, back to the waypoint, and we're doing some Tetris here, some cubing. We decide to keep the L rune, just in case maybe we can do steel as a rune word. That's tier L. So, the Far Oasis, and yeah, the point now is just trying to find the waypoint and getting to the Maggot's lair unscathed. But it's not gonna be easy, so I spent like 40 minutes in there, so... Oh, but first we get a level up. And Defiance, and 2 points into energy, which we really don't need. So, not great. Not great. So, yeah. I made a little montage for you, so we're still fighting here. I forgot at what time the montage starts, but it was pretty fun. I spent like 2 hours, no more, maybe 3-4 hours doing it. So yeah, just enjoy it. Pretty close there. Wow, and that level up at the end is extremely satisfying. So yeah, we got 2 levels. Of course, useless skills at this point. Well, cleansing, cleansing and blessed aim. So yeah, we get the Staff of Kings, and we did find a nice falchion there. I'll put the stats there. Because it's ethereal and it repairs by itself. So that's the weapon we're gonna use for a long time. Here I'm just checking our shields. If we have to change them or not. Because at this point our resists are completely trash. And you will also see the armor there, which has got I think a jewel and a ruby, or a ruby and something else. But it was just to free space in the inventory. We also get a tier rune, and yeah, I'm keeping those for the steel rune world. And since this is a no rerun challenge, I decided to spend a little bit more time here. Maybe we can find something, but of course the chest, look at that. And even this helm is complete trash, but still has a socket. Maybe we can use it? I don't think we use it though. Yeah, we do not use it. So yeah, and now we're into the Lost City. Yeah, Lost City. To find the Viper's temple, Claw Viper temple. Oh, at the end we do keep the helm with the socket. Oh, and that's the armor, the chainmail. We're just doing a inventory check here. Yeah, our gear is absolute garbage. We're still keeping the +2 to prayer septa. Yeah, it's time to put something in there, and please don't tell me I put an L in there. Yeah, I'm just considering the options here. I actually don't remember what I put in there. Oh god. Okay, nothing. Okay. So here at this point, as you could see from the montage, we're trying not to use sacrifice too much, and yeah, here we went into the ancient tunnels. I thought, okay, let's try to find some loot, some more experience. But at this point the experience is not great, and the loot is extremely bad. Like, I don't know if I was unlucky. Well, I didn't get much magic find here, but yeah, this challenge was extremely hard. Incredibly hard. But yeah, so we get the cool enchanted boss guarding the chest. And look, always consuming potions. Yeah, and we get them back, luckily. But yeah, around here I started to think, this challenge is way too hard. I don't know if we're gonna get to the end of the... Maybe at this point I thought Act 3 or Act 4. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, we got the chest, and now we're back out trying to find the Claw Vipers. You can see we don't deal low damage. Like, we do enough damage with sacrifice. But okay, here I found another. Yes, we do put the L rune in there for some extra defense. Right, so we found the waypoint, which we don't really need. And we also find the, what's the name of this? Dark Elder, I think. Yes, Dark Elder. I like what they did with the clothes there, with the rags. Originally he was just a recaller. So at this point I said, oh, fuck it, let's just run it. You'll find the Valley of Snakes. Attack rating is also fine. Yeah, I'm gonna speed this up because this was quite hard. And by hard I mean, I don't want to say annoying because it was fun playing, but holy fuck, I started to feel, okay, we're not powerful enough to do anything. Because we have to stop every 2 seconds to regain health. Like here, taking advantage of the well there. I think this was 8 speed. Besides, it's a fucking huge temple, I couldn't find level 2. And those snakes, when they start chaining those stun attacks, not easy. As you can see, I keep switching between sacrifice and the normal attack. Look at the pack there. And wow, we get a point into Holy Bolt. Wow. Which, funnily enough, we start to use later on. But, wow, I don't want to comment on that. So yeah, it was at some point I thought, okay, this is fucking boring. Let's just find this, then save and exit, and we'll continue the next day. So I did manage to get to level 2. But look how much time it took. And this is sped up by a lot. Yeah, there you go. The well. Alright. Level 2. And here I made a mistake with the strangling potions, I think they're called. What's the name of those? Strangling gas potions, I think. Yeah. Because, yeah, I threw them there, and I thought, okay, let's go down and lure them out, but they didn't want to come out. So usually you find them out there, but yeah. So they're just regenerating the damage now. But yeah, Fangskin was not extremely hard. We cleaned the room very well, and here using the stairs, so only one at a time can hit us. Yeah, we did use some potions, yeah, that's true.
Impossible.
You could see there the stun attacks. When they chain them together, it's... well, it's reason to be scared. Explore the rest of the lair, and... yeah, we got another tier rune. We got the amulet, and we get a town portal scroll that brings us straight into the palace cellar. So yeah, here, this is another hard part, but luckily it's not very long. Yeah, our gear is absolutely pathetic. Here we're just doing some cubing to get the stuff, and I think I start using the stuff at some point because he had some nice resists besides plus 10 to life, and we find it quite nice actually. We don't deal a lot of damage, but the attack speed is okay. At some point I think I change it back though. But yeah, I'm just desperate here. Because I don't know how to progress, because we cannot go back as you remember in the... we do find a broadsword, but 3 sockets, we cannot really do anything there. So yeah, I think we chuck it away. Yeah, and this archer just... the stuff is doing great work though. We are using sacrifice. finally we get into level 3. And I say, hey, no, where is the boss? I think Fire Eye. And I found some more enemies here, but as you can see, it takes way too much time, so I changed my mind quickly, and we get into the sanctuary.
This surely is the product of a twisted mind.
And this was the same as the Infernal Barracks from Act 1. This was... wow, I don't know. We got a ton of ID scrolls, but... Here is the true moment I realized, okay, we fucked this up. The run is way too hard. We're not getting any loot. Way too restrictive. Because imagine if we had 10 points into Holy Fire by this point. This would be a breeze. So, yeah. And soon we'll resort to using even Holy Bolt. Because... look at that. There you go, look at this. Holy Bolt while we're using the Prayer Scepter. So yeah. We spent 1 full hour in the Sanctuary. And level 24, I was hoping for some nice skills, but yeah, Defiance. We even used some javelins there. Yeah, we try to explore everything, because remember, I don't want to use too many potions. We do have to save some of the rejuvenation potions for the tombs and for Duriels, so... Everything we found so far was complete trash. And we get to the Summoner. And again, this was extremely hard. We got cursed there. We're getting bombarded with spells. Trying to avoid them. But at some point I just say, fuck it, let's go straight in. I cannot waste too much time here. Yeah, one ghoul tried to escape, but we get him. And I know the Summoner is paper thin, like, so he dies in a few sacrifice hits.
Rest in peace, tortured soul.
We do get a Claymore, but it's complete trash, as always. We do find a Falchion, and we finally get Steel, which is 50% chance of open wounds. And at this point I actually felt quite confident, because look at this, we start to deal some actual damage. And this is the normal attack. Look, if we kite enough enemies, they start to bleed out, and the damage stacks up. Remember, open wounds does damage every frame or every I don't remember, but I know it does damage based on your character level. So it's gonna scale with us. That's pretty good. And as you can see here, we managed to do quite fine. Here, trying not to drink. Look at this, look at this. So that's pretty good, no? Trying not to drink the potions. But then the realization, durability, 17 of 32. So yeah, if we want to have a chance against Duriel, we cannot keep using the... Oh yeah, and we also have the... I gemmed this broadsword here, because we need the life storm per hit at this point. I don't know if it was a good idea, but the damage is more or less the same. But as I was saying, we want to keep the... Checking the bell there. We want to keep the steel rune word in the falchion, because, yeah. And this is at 1 speed, so this is how long it takes to get just into 1 pack of enemies. As you can see, I'm not trying to drink the potion, trying to delay it for as long as possible. At this point I was not even running anymore, I was just walking. Here, even trying Holy Bolt to hit more than 1 at the same time. yeah, desperate times call for desperate measures, but these are shit measures. So yeah, let's speed this up because this gets depressing really quickly. I could have used, and I think at some point I do, the falchion, but there's no point. There's no point. Here is when I really realized, okay, the run is over. We're gonna die in these tombs. And since I knew that, I said, okay, fuck it, let's try to find at least Duriel. I wanna die against Duriels. And let's see if we manage to do it. Yeah, look, in this situation it's not so bad using Holy Bolt, because they're all stacked up. And here I start running for it. Here I said, okay, fuck it, there's no time. And here even the gemmed broadsword is starting to lose durability. So we are desperate. We also kept the rare falchion, yeah, and we changed it. The ethereal one, the self-repairing one. Even the boots are leaving us. And here, fuck. That's a dead end, so we have to run all the way back. You will see no health potions there in the belt. Clicking every urn. Finally we find a well, because I was also running out of stamina. And here the doom is closer and closer, the final moments of the run. Yeah, this was way too restrictive. Way too restrictive. Here I accept my fate and I say, well, at least we tried. I think we did pretty well with what we had. We didn't get very lucky with the random builds, the random stats and skills. At least I fought up until the end, and we will never see Duriel's lair. But yeah, I think this was pretty nice. It was pretty fun. Except towards the end, like those last minutes. It was the minutes of the video, so for me the last 2-3 hours of playing, like the Arcane Sanctuary, was extremely tedious. There were some nice moments, but yeah, this was way too restrictive. So maybe next time we're gonna try something else, but I really love the idea of the random skill points and stat points. But merging that with all the other rules was a little bit too much. Anyway, yeah, that's all from me. Cheers.